My name is Steve Zeltzer. I'm with Workers' Solidarity Action Network and United Public Workers for Action. The Dandelion Coalition is also here to speak about the dangerous conditions in this plant. We believe that it's the responsibility of the state of California and Governor Newsom and Cal-OSHA to make sure that workers in this plant are protected. Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla, is keeping the people who are getting contaminated, the workers contaminated, a secret. And we believe that this is an outrage. The workers need to know, they have a right to know and need to know if workers are becoming infected, if it's in their part of the factory, and if there's tracing going on. We charge that Elon Musk is keeping this a secret because he wants to keep this plant running at all costs, regardless of the possibility that there could be serious contamination. Many of these workers at this plant are spread out throughout California. They live in the Central Valley, Stockton. They can't afford to live in the Bay Area. They're traveling throughout not just Northern California, but Central Valley. So the question of the protection of these workers is utmost, and we're speaking for the workers in this plant who are afraid to speak out because they'll be terminated. They're afraid of being terminated and retaliated against. Elon Musk has a long history of violating health and safety rights in this plant. Workers have been injured in this plant, and he covered it up. Cal-OSHA documented that. They've also prevented workers getting workers' comp in this plant, which is a crime, actually. It's a felony. Workers' comp fraud is a felony in California. Yet there's been no prosecution investigation of Elon Musk. Now, the other issue that we want to address here at this press conference is the fact that Fremont, Cal-OSHA has an office here right in Fremont, but they have refused to investigate. There has been no physical inspections at this massive plant of 10,000 workers. So we're calling on Governor Newsom, what in the hell are you doing? We, the taxpayers of California, pay for Cal-OSHA to investigate dangerous conditions on the workplace. And the fact that there have been no physical inspections by Cal-OSHA at this plant is an outrage. The unions, the labor movement has called for inspections, the hiring of inspectors. There are less than 200 inspectors in California for 18 million workers. So we're demanding that Governor Newsom hire 1,000 inspectors and that this plant be inspected so that the workers have some protection. The other thing we're saying is that there is no report of the tracing that's going on. If workers at this plant have become infected, there's no tracing going on that we know about what's happening with these workers, their families, the communities who are being affected in Northern California and the Bay Area. This is a healthcare emergency. We're still in a pandemic in California. And we have to ask, in a pandemic, does Elon Musk, this billionaire, have the right to keep it a secret who's getting sick at this plant? That's the question people have to ask. Does Elon Musk, this billionaire, have a right to keep it a secret who's getting infected in this plant? In fact, who's running California? Who's running California? Is it Elon Musk, or is it the governor and the people of California? We believe that Governor Newsom, the California legislature, have a responsibility to make sure that the workers at this plant are safe and have protection. They're masked, and we'll have a speaker. They're workers who are not wearing masks. They're workers who are on the front line, on the job, frontline workers, many of them Black and Latino. And we're saying that this is another example of the systemic racism that's going on. We're going to be joining the ILW action on June 19th at SSA Terminal. This Friday we'll have a speaker there, because the fact is, it's the Black and brown workers at this plant, the immigrant workers who have been tormented, who work 72-hour work weeks and have been tormented and are afraid to speak out because there is no union here, they have no protection, and they will be terminated and harassed and bullied. And that's the record, really, at this plant of Elon Musk. So again, we're demanding that they open the records of the workers who've been contaminated, they have tracing, and that Cal-OSHA send inspectors to this plant immediately to make an investigation of the conditions of the workers of the plant, whether or not health and safety protections are being observed. We also say it's outrageous that the Fremont Police Department apparently is in charge of inspecting the health and safety conditions of this plant. Since when are the Fremont police trained to know what the health and safety conditions are for workers in California. We know that many inspectors would like to be here, but many of the inspectors in Cal-OSHA over 60 years of age, they haven't had mass hiring of inspectors. We think it's time that all the workers in California have proper protection and that the workers here are secure in knowing that they have health and safety protection on their jobs. Again, this is not going to go away, and we hold Elon Musk and Governor Newsom personally responsible. If there's an epidemic that breaks out at this plant, they have to be held personally responsible and for a contamination in this pandemic. We think that this has to end. There has to be inspections and the workers have to be protected. So our next speaker is Carlos Gabriel, who is a worker here and has spoken out previously about his concerns about health and safety, and we're in touch with workers at the plant who also are concerned. So welcome, Carlos Gabriel.
Again, my name is Carlos Gabriel. I am a Tesla worker. I started working at the beginning of this year. So I'll repeat it again. My name is Carlos Gabriel. I've been working at Tesla since January. I started in January. I'm also an organizer with the NorCal Dandelion Collective out of Hayward here in Alameda County. I think Steve touched on a lot of topics and a lot of points that I'm going to touch about as well from a worker's perspective. Again, one of the questions I was asked earlier is what are my concerns? They just keep growing. My concerns keep growing, and earlier I shouted out that the inevitable has happened, right? What we knew was going to happen happened. It happened very early on of the opening of this factory. Elon Musk and Tesla have dumbed down, they have degraded this pandemic to nothing more than the flu, when in reality people are dying. People are dying. There's already thousands here in Alameda County that are infected with this virus, and they're adding to that. They're adding to the death of Black, Brown, Asian, API folks, and they're adding to just mistreatment of labor rights. And as a worker, I'm extremely concerned. I'm one of the few that have decided not to return. I'm not afraid to lose my job because I'd rather lose my job than my life. I keep continuing to yell out, health over profits. At this point, Tesla, all they care about is the profits. Elon Musk, all they care about is the profit. As Steve had mentioned, the PD, and obviously it's very popular to say to divert funds from the PD and actually give it to OSHA. Give it to Cal-OSHA and some health inspectors that belong in the factory. Cal-OSHA only has about 200 inspectors for the whole state of California. So why don't we get more Cal-OSHA inspectors, at least 1,000, so they can visit these factories and fields, right? Not one health official that is knowledgeable of factories has entered this factory. Tesla has claimed, they have sent an email to myself and other workers, they're claiming to be doing their own contact tracing. Isn't that convenient, right? That's super convenient that they're doing their own contact tracing, and they didn't come forward with any contamination until the Washington Post had an article about a week and a half ago. Then they came forward and they sent us an email about contamination, but we knew, the workers knew. I'm not even at work and I knew. There were already rumors. So when they asked me why haven't I returned to work, I'm scared for my life, right? I don't think, I don't trust that Tesla has the workers' best interest in mind. To mention or to re-mention what Steve has said, remember there are workers here. It's more like 15,000 workers in 10. It's between 10 and 15,000 workers. A good majority, I can visually attest, as I mentioned before, from 35 to 40% are contract workers. What that means is that they're temporary. They have no benefits. They have no paid sick leave. They have no health insurance. So if some of these workers are infected, they will not be paid if they were sick. And they have no health insurance. So it's criminal what Tesla is doing, and we're calling on Governor Newsom and the Alameda County health officials and Cal-OSHA to do something about it. Are we going to stand still and idle while workers are losing their lives or workers are being infected and contaminated? And not just workers, because they bring it back to their homes, right? One of the things that the EHS department said, the Emergency Health and Safety at Tesla said, is that those folks that were contaminated or infected were through their family. How did they know that? How do they know that it was through their family members? They don't know that. Right, and if it were through the family members, one of the things I constantly hear in the emails is if you feel sick, stay home. They would have stayed home when they were sick. right? And the issue is that it's hard to do contact tracing for the professionals that understand the pandemic and understand this crisis. Imagine an EHS department within this factory. If Tesla and Elon Musk have nothing to hide, if they have nothing to hide, they want them to come forward with all the people that have been infected, right? Why are they keeping the employees in the dark? One of my colleagues I spoke to just a few weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago, when the rumor started that folks were infected in the factory, and I actually worked on that line that the folks were infected. One of my co-workers said that he had a meeting with EHS, and EHS told him, you know, it's not your business, it's not you or any of the workers' business to know who is infected. Go back to work is what they told him. And this gentleman that I spoke to, actually, his significant other has a weakened immune system. So could you imagine that? Could you imagine you being the reason why your loved ones are dying? Could you imagine you being the reason why your neighbors are being infected by this heavily contaminated disease, right? Again, you know, Tesla, Elon Musk, do right for your workers. You should be shutting down for every case you have, is what we ask you. Shut down and do a proper sanitation of the workplace. There has been no record of sanitation. I have not received not one email of them saying we have, even through the shutdown, we have sanitized every area. Yeah, they put up some screens from what I understand it. But still, what I hear is that, you know, some of the workers don't believe in this pandemic, as we all know. People have their own opinions and they don't believe in it. And so the workers don't believe in this pandemic and don't believe in this crisis. They're not wearing their PPE properly, right? And there's no, from what I understand, there's no penalization for them, right? They're not forcing folks to wear the PPE properly. So the co-workers that I'm in contact with are afraid. And they're also afraid of coming forward. As you can see, there's not many of them here. Even though I contacted a few of them. Why? Because they're afraid. And they're also working 72 hours a week. That's 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, right? So again, you know, Governor Newsom, where are you? Where are you? We are your citizens. We elected you. This is going to affect you. Remember, this is an election year. This is going to affect you. And it's going to affect a lot of the politicians in California, including the supervisors in Alameda County.
So you have not been to work?
I have not been. I refuse to go back to work.
Do other people want to come out and join you, or where are they?
They're afraid they're going to lose their jobs. They're afraid to lose their jobs. They've been put between a rock and a hard place. Either come to work and you know, contaminate the rest of your family, or starve. And they decided to starve, but you know, they also don't want to lose their job in the future or burn any bridges. I don't, you know, for me, I'm about my community. I'm here for the people.
What's your job standing now? Are you?
So about a few weeks ago, I want to say mid-May, or I want to say May 20-something, there was an email sent out to all of us saying that for the folks that have not returned to work by May 31st, it will be fired. But I don't think they have fired me. I have received no communication about being fired. I still receive the emails. I still have my credentials. I still have my ID. So I'm in limbo. I'm in limbo. And I haven't collected unemployment. You know, I'm doing DoorDash now because I feel like DoorDash is even though it's terrible, it's less risky than being in a factory with 15,000 workers.
How long did you work there? What was your job?
I worked there since January, and my job was I was a production associate.
You started in January?
In January, yeah. I'm relatively new.
Okay, all right. How much were you making?
Per hour? Tesla starts you at $19 an hour. That's what they start you at. Both contracted workers and the full-time workers. Because they hire full-time. I'm not contracted, but I'm full-time. And with me, there were another 300 and something workers that were hired. A lot of them were contract workers. A lot of them.
You said this, but it's really noisy back here. Do you personally know, or have you personally observed other co-workers or workers who have come down with the illness?
I have not. I don't personally know them yet. But again, no one knows them. I don't know them. No one knows. They're not coming forward with it. So no, I haven't heard of any. Co-workers have said that one of my co-workers said that he knows one of the person that has been infected. So, and again, I haven't been back to work, and I'm relatively new, so I don't know everyone.
We support workers' struggles with the right of workers, and particularly health and safety. In California, although workers are supposed to have protection for speaking about health and safety issues, that's under the law. They're not being protected. They're being fired. In fact, even at unionized locations, workers are afraid to speak out for fear of being terminated. And we don't think that's a healthy situation, not only for the workers and their families, but the public. If people are afraid to speak out, afraid to say that they're sick and are being coerced to work, where does that leave the people of California? This contamination, this virus is not going away. It's with us. It's growing. And we think it's really, people have to ask, who's in charge in California? Is Elon Musk running California? That's what we're asking. Is Elon Musk running California, or is OSHA and the government running California? Because apparently OSHA has not been able to visit this plant, and Governor Newsom doesn't give a damn whether they're inspectors at this plant to make sure that the workers are safe. Now, Governor Newsom has a responsibility to the people of California to make sure that this factory and other factories where workers are working are safe. He's not doing that. So we're calling on him to hire 1,000 inspectors. We're saying that these inspectors, and we've been in touch with Cal-OSHA inspectors, they do not have enough staff. The Fremont office of Cal-OSHA is 20% understaffed. Most of the inspectors are over 60 years of age. They're afraid for their lives. They have to hire inspectors that can go out and inspect these work locations so workers have protection on the job. This is a basic human right. We're not just talking about workers. We're talking about human rights. This is a human right to have a health and safety workplace. And for somebody who calls himself a leader in science and a leader in technology, that's what Elon Musk says, why hasn't he provided health and safety protection for the workers? Now, he was very concerned about the space shoot and sending out these astronauts into space and their safety. He went to there and was very concerned about the safety. What about the safety about the workers here at Tesla? Don't they have the same rights to health and safe working places as the astronauts that Elon Musk is sending into space? We think there's a double standard. Elon Musk wants to make billions of dollars from this factory, personally benefiting. So for him, the lives of these workers and their families, the health and safety of these workers and the families is not that important. That's why he's keeping it a secret here. And we have to ask ourselves again, this epidemic is continuing. People are continuing to get this virus, and Elon Musk is keeping it secret with the support of Governor Newsom. That's intolerable, and we, the people of California, have to demand a change.
I have not heard it personally. I was told that Governor Newsom indicated some support for you today at the end of his press conference. Are you aware of that? Are you impressed by it, or what?
Okay, look, Cal-OSHA has been underfunded, not just under Governor Newsom's control, but also Governor Brown. If he's concerned about the fact that there are less than 200 inspectors in Cal-OSHA, if he's concerned about the fact that there hasn't been one physical inspection of Cal-OSHA at this factory since this pandemic started, we're talking about months, 3 months this has been going on. The Labor Federation, the California Labor Federation, many organizations, Work Safe in California, demanded that there be hiring of inspectors and inspections. This has been going on for months, 3 months. Why is Governor Newsom now saying he's concerned? I don't know. Maybe it's because we're having press conferences out here and people are starting to find out that Cal-OSHA is MIA. Cal-OSHA has been MIA, and Governor Newsom is responsible for that. They have not hired any new inspectors at Cal-OSHA in the midst of this pandemic. There's a virus and a destructive pandemic that's killing thousands of people in California. Where is Cal-OSHA? So he may say that he is concerned about it. What's he doing? And also protecting the workers here who speak out, because workers have been coerced here. This plant, and Elon Musk has a record of union busting. He fired several hundred workers who were pro-union in the past. So we don't believe that there's been enforcement of the law, and we're concerned about health and safety. Lastly, why would Governor Newsom allow the Fremont Police Department to investigate the health and safety conditions at this plant? Isn't that the job of Cal-OSHA? Since when are the police trained to understand what health and safety conditions are? These police themselves are probably afraid of being contaminated. They're not protected from this virus.
What happens after this press conference? What's the next step for you guys?
Well, we're going to file we're planning to investigate filing a complaint against Cal-OSHA and against Governor Newsom for the failure to protect workers. But this has to be a public issue. That's the first thing. People have to start demanding, calling Governor Newsom, also calling the California legislature. They have, Governor Newsom, as I reported earlier, spent $85 million to nonprofits in California to protect the farm workers of California. The farm workers of California are also in danger from COVID. They don't have proper washing facilities, and they and their families can be infected. We need Cal-OSHA inspectors who can speak Spanish, who can investigate the farms of California, the agricultural workers in California. It's not just these workers in this plant. They're workers, and they deserve actually health and safety as well. They produce our food, and they're not being properly protected. They're not, and this is a systemic problem, really, and it really has to do with how workers are treated in not only in Tesla but California in this country. And I would have to say that Trump has been arrogantly saying that to hell with the virus, you're going to go back to work. Unfortunately, Governor Newsom is mimicking President Trump, because his refusal to bring in inspectors, his refusal to protect the workers of California is the same thing that Trump is saying. We have to get back to work so we can make more profits. That's what it's all about.
I'm sorry, what kind of complaint will you be filing?
Well, we're going to investigate a complaint with Cal-OSHA and the state of California, because they're failing to, they're making no physical examinations. For example, in General Hospital in San Francisco, workers have been put on the front lines, African American workers, without masks, without proper PPE. They filed complaints with Cal-OSHA. Cal-OSHA has refused to send inspectors. What they do is they send a letter to management. Are you taking care of your workers? Are you protecting your workers? That's not good enough. Sending a letter to management about if workers are being protected, when a lot of workers, including Brenda Barrows, who's the president of the chapter of SEIU 1021, she sent a complaint. Cheryl Thornton, who's a shop steward, who was sent out without masks to screen people. These workers are putting their life in danger and their families, and they sent letters to Cal-OSHA. They sent complaints. Cal-OSHA said, we're not going to investigate. We don't have the staff to send out an investigator to General Hospital, to Tesla, to investigate. Are there any other questions? Oh, I want to also say that the racism, it happens that many of the frontline workers here at Tesla are African American, are Latino, are immigrants. And as a result of that, they're further exploited. And we have said actually that if these were white workers, the white workers were sent home, the white workers were allowed to work at home, many of the white workers. It's the African American, Latino workers and immigrants that have been on the front line without proper protection. So we think there's a double standard. And this Friday at 10 o'clock at 1717 Middlefield Road, there's going to be a rally for Juneteenth. Juneteenth celebrates the freedom of blacks in Texas and the United States. We're saying today that this is slavery. If workers are being forced to go into Tesla, if they're being forced to go into meat plants in California that are contaminated, this is the same as slavery. I mean, even in the Upton Sinclair in the jungle, workers in the meat plants in Chicago, when they were organizing in 1919, they did not face what workers here face, with a virus that they get and they bring back to their families. That's an outrage again, and it shows the slave-like conditions of workers in this country. They're being coerced to work in dangerous environments and threatening themselves and their family. And Cal-OSHA, Governor Newsom has to take responsibility for that. Are there any other questions?
Doesn't it just seem a little futile to file a complaint with OSHA when you're saying that right now Cal-OSHA is so ineffective?
Well, okay, the first thing is to speak up about what's happening, and that's the first thing we're doing. You know, I mean, basically the labor movement, I mean, you have to ask a question. The AFL-CIO in California, the Labor Federation, and many other organizations sent a letter to Governor Newsom and Cal-OSHA, and we can supply you with that letter. This is weeks ago. This is about a month ago. They sent a letter to Governor Newsom and the legislature asking them for action on Cal-OSHA. There's no response. So Governor Newsom is aware that the labor movement in California is concerned about the health and safety of workers in California. He's aware of that. I don't think he's doing anything, because I think he's taking his directions from Elon Musk. That's where he's taking his directions. Otherwise, he would be doing something about it.
I created a Facebook group too for workers, actually several workers, and the Facebook group is called Tesla Workers Against COVID-19. And in the beginning of this pandemic, before Tesla wanted to shut down, I also created a petition which got hundreds of signatures, and I believe that's one of the reasons, between that and putting pressure on the Alameda County officials, one of the reasons why Tesla shut down in the first place. Remember, they didn't want to shut down in the first place. They categorized themselves a critical infrastructure, when in reality they're not a critical infrastructure. And not only did they fail to open up, close when or shut down when Alameda County decided to close all the factories down, but they also opened up earlier than everybody else. So again, the Facebook group that I created for Tesla workers, if some of you are here, is Tesla Workers Against COVID-19. You can find us on Facebook.
What I want to say is Elon Musk who owns Tesla, has said he's above the law. When there was a order by Alameda County, shelter-in-place order, he said, screw the order. This is Elon Musk. Screw the order. I'm going to open up the factory full blast. And what are you going to do about it? That's what Elon Musk said. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to open up the factory. Screw the law. Screw the law. So basically what happened is the Alameda County Health Department capitulated, and actually Governor Newsom congratulated Elon Musk on opening up the factory. Now here you have this billionaire saying, to hell with the Department of Public Health, to hell with the shelter-in-place law, I'm going to open up, and what are you going to do about it? He called out Governor Newsom. He called out our government officials, and what did they do? Not only did they not say anything, they thanked him for doing such a great job. We don't think it's a great job when you don't protect workers. When you don't protect the health and safety of workers, that's not a great job. That's threatening those workers and their families in the community. And as I said before, these workers, because they can't afford to live in the Bay Area, are spread out throughout Northern California and Central Valley, in Stockton, in Merced, many other places in California. And the infection rate is going to go up in these places. If there's a pandemic, if there's a virus spread in this factory, it's going to spread out throughout Northern California. There's no tracing that we know about. I mean, so here, even President Trump says there should be tracing, but we haven't heard about any tracing. In fact, they're not telling the workers who've been infected, who work in the same lines, who's infected, and to watch out. This is really criminal. Criminal negligence on the protection of workers in California. That's what it is. It's criminal negligence by Governor Newsom not to make sure that Cal-OSHA is protecting the workers. And this is a basic human right, the right to be health and safe on your job, and that's something that has been straight out violated here at Tesla. And we're talking about a billionaire. He can provide proper health and safety protections if he wants to. He provided proper health and safety protection for the astronauts who he shot up. He's not protecting proper health and safety for the workers, of more than 15,000 workers who work here.
I think one spacesuit can provide PPE for all of these workers. Guess the price of one spacesuit for the folks that went up into space through SpaceX.
So SpaceX, which he also owns, one spacesuit could provide the PPE for the workers in this plant. But not only do they have to provide PPE, they have to make sure that the safety conditions are being respected. And having the Fremont police investigate the safety conditions here at this plant is ludicrous. The Fremont police are not trained to protect health and safety. And nor are they paid for it. So why would the city of Fremont and Governor Newsom allow the Fremont police to be in charge of protecting health and safety? That's another question we ask. I mean, how can you have the Fremont police protecting health and safety?